Hi, this is your Swapnil Bharti and we are here at SUSECon in Nashville, Tennessee, and today we have with us Jennifer Kotzen from SUSE. I will let you talk about your title first. What do you do at SUSE?
I'm responsible for product marketing for our application delivery solutions. That includes our SUSE CaaS platform and our SUSE Cloud Application Platform offerings.
Perfect. When you look at application delivery, it's changing. It's no more the same. There used to be a waterfall model and there's an agile model. So can you talk about how it's changing and why it's changing?
Yes, for sure. So application delivery is changing. Think of one word. It's agile. We have to deliver greater agility, and there are a couple of ways that happens. One is our applications need to be able to respond in real time when they're deployed in production to changes in a dynamic environment. So they need to be able to scale automatically up. They need to be able to scale automatically down. They need to be able to respond to trouble with a network failure or a server loss. They need to be able to recover from that very, very quickly, and they need to do that really in an automatic way. So that's one way. They need a greater agility there. They also need to be able to evolve more quickly. So this is not on the operational side, it's on the development side. So we need to build applications more quickly. We need to reduce the cycle time. So instead of putting a new application out every 12 to 18 months or 24 months, we need to make that every 6 months or every quarter or every 2 weeks, or in the ultimate case, continuously. So that now allows customers to respond more quickly to both issues that need to be resolved, problems, or to new opportunities that come out. So agility is the name of the game. Shrinking cycle times and responding automatically helps us achieve that.
And to be agile, is it more culture or more technological?
It's both. So so when we talk about how customers implement this agile, there's a process, an agile process that's well known in development world today. And that is a process, and it is a process.
Right.
And it helps us take that time, and the focus of it is, instead of trying to deliver a lot of functionality in an extended period of time, we deliver smaller increments of functionality much more frequently. So it's a well understood model today, and that helps us achieve that. So as we move forward, we need to embrace that model more richly. That's one way that we can become more agile. Another way we can become more agile is to embrace containers.
Right.
So containers are a new packaging mechanism, and that allows developers to spin up in their development environment and also the test environment, spin up their code, which they do many, many times a day. So they spin it up much more quickly. They don't have to go to IT to get a VM. They don't have to wait for a VM, so it's a faster process for them. Also, when they put their code in containers, that code will work in a consistent way no matter where it runs. So it's portable. And the concern on the development side isn't portability for the sake of, I want to deploy it operationally in all these different places, but I want to run it on my development team, on my development workstation. I want to run it in the test environment, and I need to make sure it's going to work consistently everywhere. And if it does work consistently everywhere, then I spend a lot less time debugging changes in the environment. Right. So those two things, using agile development process and using containers, can help shrink that cycle time dramatically today.
Yeah. Do you have any playbook, or kind of or step-by-step guide which can help organizations,
Yeah. So at a very high level, I'd say some of those first steps you can take are implementing agile practices on the development team, embracing containers, again, on the development side to speed up that delivery, and operationally to use an automation platform that will help you get that dynamic response to the situation there. So if you're using VMs today, a lot of people are familiar with OpenStack. That gives us the orchestration capability to be able to respond dynamically to the same kinds of changes with VM-based workloads. Today, operational teams, as they're getting more and more containerized workloads, need an automation platform that does the same sort of things. And the platform of choice today is Kubernetes. So start by implementing Agile, by using containers, and by taking into your operational environment Kubernetes platform that can give you that dynamic response in real time.
And what else? These to me look like technological solutions.
Yeah.
But what are the people solution? How do you?
So if you take the next step, the next step. So these are sort of first steps. All right. The next step in increasing agility is to rethink the way we do applications in a much larger, much more significant way. And that is what we loosely call moving to cloud native. Okay? Cloud native involves changes in the application's architecture. It involves changes in the process for delivering an application. It involves changes to the organizational models we use to help support those new processes and application delivery architectures. So it's a significant change, and moving to cloud native is the next step. So if we start with the architecture, it means taking applications and making them breaking them into smaller pieces and having a distributed application when we're done, something that's microservice or macroservice or mini-service based, making sure that each of those pieces is capable of handling itself operationally. So not only does it deliver on functional requirements, but each of those microservices independently manages its own availability. It independently knows how to work with the deployment platform to manage its scalability. So we're changing the architecture. We're building an application that's more distributed. We're building components that know how to work with a modern platform to handle their own non-functional requirements in terms of scaling and availability management. So that's a big architecture change. Right. The process change says take what we're doing in Agile development from the development team and now extend that to include our operations team. So we've had developers, we've had test engineers, we've had release engineers part of this Agile process to date. Now we're going to bring in the ops team and make the iterative cycle time of rapid iterations include deployment into production. And the final thing that we need to do is we need to implement the organizational change that goes along with that. So as we bring operations folks into that Agile process, we see a team emerge, a DevOps team, that becomes responsible not for a slice of the life cycle, but collectively for the whole life cycle. So those are three changes: the architecture, the process, and the teaming that all need to change.
As companies, become agile, they move faster. At the same time, they also want to be stable.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So what is your advice so that they can test, they can play with new things at the same time maintaining their stack so that they're not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, most organizations have a process in place that allows them to do that today. So they have a production environment and then they have a testing and staging environment where they experiment with things. One of the things that's nice about the new technology platforms is we can do some of that experimentation after we've gone through initial levels in the dev test environment. We can do a deployment to a very controlled portion of our production environment, so a canary testing environment, for example. And if that's successful, then we can roll it out more broadly. And that kind of deployment and that kind of flexibility is really something, again, that's enabled by these new automation platforms, such as Kubernetes, that allow us to determine how we're going to balance load, how we're going to scale up and down, how we can replace a previous version in a very fluid way with a new update to that version.
So of course, it all sounds easy,
Yeah.
but I'm sure there are like real, life challenges that companies face as they do. So what are those and how to kind of, overcome those?
Well, we talked about three dimensions of change. One is in the application architecture, one is in the process, one is in the organizational model. And of course, there's technology that facilitates all of this. Changing processes is always really difficult, but fortunately the big process change is moving to sort of an agile model, and that's a model, at least in dev test, which is pretty well understood today. So there's a lot out there to support companies that want to make that change. So yes, it's not easy, but there's a tremendous amount of support out there. There's a long history of success with it that people can draw on to monitor. Implementing the new cloud native architectures, because there's so much that's involved there, you really do need to embrace new technologies. You need to embrace some kind of container technology, probably Docker, and then you need to embrace your automation platform, probably Kubernetes. And these are wonderful open source technologies that are out there, but Kubernetes in particular is a complex platform. And it's available upstream, open source, which is wonderful, but as a complex platform for a lot of customers, bringing that in-house and trying to set that up and manage it and evolve it themselves is a little more than they want to get involved with. And that's where SUSE can help, of course. We have technologies that package that open source software and make it easier for our customers to consume. We also have technology that sits on top of Kubernetes, our SUSE Cloud Application Platform, and that's focused on simplifying that developer experience. So as developers want to embrace containers, they just want to focus on writing code. When we move to containers, there are a couple of extra steps that get put into the process. How do I take my code and turn it into a container and put it into a registry and manage all the images that are in a registry and get them deployed to Kubernetes? Those extra steps are steps that developers don't want to be involved with. So our SUSE Cloud Application Platform takes care of those for them automatically. So that's another way we can help. Use that to simplify development of those cloud native applications. Use the underlying SUSE CaaS platform for the Kubernetes infrastructure, and you're set.
Awesome. That's a perfect advice. We should charge for that advice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just lighten the mood. What are your hobbies? What do you do in your free time?
Oh, wow. You are lightening the mood, aren't you? I like to garden. I like to hike. I like to surf. I like to ride my bike.
How much do you travel? A lot or?
Mostly for work I travel.
You travel a lot. So how do you keep up with your hobbies when you're traveling?
Well, when I'm traveling, I'm not gardening. I'm not doing too much of that while I'm traveling.
You cannot surf, unless until you are somewhere there.
No.
So
I reserve that for when I'm home.
So do you have any hobbies for traveling? Okay, I'm traveling, so I'm switching the hobby mode, and this
To
is
your
my new
travel.
hobby.
I mean, one of the great things about traveling to an event like SUSECon or anywhere is the people. I mean, I
Right.
typically work in my home office, and so it's wonderful to connect with people. I like to go out and enjoy dinner. I like to go out and enjoy a drink. I like to meet and understand what they're doing, and I
Right.
find it fascinating. I really, really do love to meet people and dig into what's going on in
That's
their
how
lives.
we met,
Yeah, that's
during
right.
the event.
That's
and,
right.
And I mean, events like that, it has kind of, SUSECon has become like a extended family where there's so many people that
Yeah.
you walk into
Yeah.
that it's like incredible, So,
Yeah.
so once again, thank you for, talking to me again. And I look forward to more such interviews in future.
Thank you, Swapnil.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Take care.